Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning to you all. I'll start with the high table. Madam Fumiko Nagano, the head of mission. I welcome you all present here today. A special thank you to all the members of the high table present who are here to grace the occasion, and also a warm welcome to the family of the late Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, in whose honor this moot competition is named after. Ladies and gentlemen, the moot competition is named after the late President Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara in recognition of his efforts in laying the foundation of the regional human rights mechanism on the African continent. During the maiden moot and also during the opening of the second edition, we elaborated on the role that Sir Dawda played in giving us what today we know as the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. He played a pivotal part in the whole process at a time when human rights was something that most head of state were not attuned to. In fact, in those days, when you mention human rights, it was only apartheid South Africa that was condemned. Sir Dawda, during that period when human rights were not popular, took up the mantle to champion the cause of human rights. So I think it is fitting that this moot competition that the National Human Rights Commission, in collaboration with the University of the Gambia Faculty of Law, have come up with, is named after him. The National Human Rights Commission, as I said, we have designed this human rights moot court competition in partnership with the Faculty of Law, University of the Gambia, with technical and financial support from the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights, WARO, and also the UN Office on Drugs and Crimes under the PROMISE project. We again thank the UN for all the support they have been providing to the National Human Rights Commission, and also to this country, and also to all the other rule of law institutions. It is much appreciated, and we thank you very much. The maiden first moot competition was held last year, and it started in November with the finals that were held on the 10th of December 2020, again to commemorate with International Human Rights Day. This second edition, which we are witnessing, of the moot competition started on the 27th of October this year, and the competing students have been arguing, they have been mooting a human rights hypothetical case before a selected group of very experienced lawyers as judges. Today, we have the finals of those law students whom the judges observed were the top to be in the finals. All of the students, I hasten to add, however, who competed were excellent, and let us therefore give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the moot court competition aligns with the general mandate of the National Human Rights Commission to promote and protect human rights, and especially under Section 12, subsection E of our Act, which says, it says that the National Human Rights Commission is required to promote awareness and respect for human rights through conducting human rights education and studies in the Gambia. The finalists will today argue before an imaginary African court on human and people's rights based in Arusha, Tanzania. This is where we'll be going in the next 1 hour or so. The theme of the 2021 moot competition is centered on state responsibility in respect of human rights of migrants in Africa. The hypothetical case focuses on the general situation of migrants. It highlights and identifies possible shortcomings in the domestic legal mechanisms and absence of the state's political will to protect the fundamental rights and the lives of migrants, which has exacerbated the vulnerability of youths, women, children in the context of migration. I'm talking about the hypothetical case. That's what it's about. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the International Office of Migration, migration plays a significant role in Gambian society, with overseas remittances of Gambians living abroad amounting to over 20% of the country's GDP. It has also noted that socio-economic challenges in the Gambia has driven the youths to undertake irregular migration to Europe through the dangerous Mediterranean Sea. While Gambians that have crossed Europe continue to be deported back to the Gambia, there is a significant lack of clarity on the nature of obligation of the deporting state and also the Gambia. The farming communities in the Gambia continue to battle with the consequences of environmental degradation, thereby exposing young people to risky migration patterns. The Gambia has over the years served as a destination for economic migrants and refugees from the sub-region, and increasingly, it's becoming a country of transit and return of migrants. Gambian nationals rank high among migrants undertaking the central Mediterranean route from sub-Saharan Africa, mainly Libya, Tunisia, through Algeria, and also to Italy. They are likely to be more vulnerable to discrimination, exploitation, and marginalization during their migratory journey. I'm sure you have all seen and watched videos of this happening to African migrants going through the Mediterranean. So with an increase in the number of returnees in the past few years in the Gambia, a number of serious human rights concerns have arisen on the failure to safeguard migrants' rights in the context of return. Therefore, the theme of the 2021 moot competition, it's respect of human rights of migrants in Africa. You will probably know that the UN theme on Human Rights Day, which is today for your information, the 10th of December is Human Rights Day. I call it the Independence Day of all human rights institutions and organizations. Today is our Independence Day, and that's why we're celebrating it. But the theme of today, coined by the UN, is equality. Equality. And it's taken from Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And it says that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Governments, therefore, all over, should be urged to focus their attention on the general situation of the rights of migrants and to endeavor to protect their fundamental rights so that they and their families can live in equality and dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, the theme for today is respect of human rights of migrants in Africa. That is the theme of the moot. It presents an opportunity for the law students to appreciate the socio-economic, the legal, and political causes of migration, the dynamics of migration, as well as the legal mechanisms for redress for migrants, rights, and most importantly, understanding state obligation in addressing migration issues. The winners of this prestigious competition will be awarded cash prizes. It will be announced later. Books also will be given to them, and they will also have an opportunity to undertake a 6-month paid internship with the National Human Rights Commission. Once again, I thank you all for gracing the occasion, and you are most welcome. And please stay for the rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Chairman Juve from the National Human Rights Commission, the commissioners from the National Human Rights Commission and all staff of the commission, the Assistant Dean, Faculty of Law, University of the Gambia, all law students and other students present, government officials present, members of the judiciary, the Gambia Bar Association and the legal fraternity, my fellow UN colleagues, including UNODC, IOM, represented by Ms. Fumiko Nagano, as well as Ms. Aissata Day, the UNDP resident rep. I recognize the presence of all dignitaries, all our partners, the media, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, today, once again, we celebrate Human Rights Day with a universal theme inspired by the Universal Declaration for Human Rights: equality, reducing inequalities, and advancing human rights. As the chair just reminded us, Article 1 of the Declaration states, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. The principles of equality and non-discrimination are at the heart of human rights, and so we advocate for equality in all spheres and for everyone, including the most vulnerable, to ensure full enjoyment and realization of their rights. Furthermore, the 2030 Agenda, underpinned by human rights, provides a comprehensive blueprint for sustainable development and the realization of human rights for all people everywhere without discrimination. Ladies and gentlemen, the focus of today's moot, the rights of migrants in Africa, is therefore very apt in the global context as well as in the national context, wherein migration is very much a human rights issue in the Gambia. Migrants can be vulnerable to human rights violations and tend to be disproportionately vulnerable to discrimination, exploitation, and marginalization, often living and working in the shadows, afraid to complain and deny their human rights and fundamental freedoms. International human rights law requires states to protect, to respect, and to fulfill human rights at all times, including for all migrants on their territory, regardless of status. The Gambia has ratified the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of their Family, which applies during the entire migration process, including return migration. So it gives us great pleasure, and I'm sure my colleague Fumiko is also very pleased to see the National Human Rights Commission and the University of the Gambia organizing such an event to highlight the importance of advocating for the rights of migrants. On behalf of OSCHR and our regional rep, Mr. Andrea Ori, on behalf of UNODC, I would like to thank the National Human Rights Commission for the very close collaboration and partnership. The National Human Rights Commission has been and will continue to be our staunch partner in the advancement of human rights in the Gambia. Chairman Juf, the UN in the Gambia is committed to the advancement of human rights, and our collective work in the Gambia is aimed at reducing inequalities and advancing human rights that are at the core of the 2030 Agenda and sustainable development. We will continue to offer unwavering support. I would also like to thank our sister agency, UNODC, with whom we jointly implement the Promise Project that contributes to strengthening the capacities of West African countries, including the Gambia, to develop a human rights-based response to smuggling of migrants and to effectively respond to human rights violations related to irregular migration. I thank too IOM, with which we share close collaboration on our common work on the rights of migrants, including in the UN Network on Migration. To the students taking part today, I wish you all the best of luck, and remember that even though only one team will be the winner, you are all champions for having taken part in the moot competition. And to every one of us present, I urge you to reflect on what equality means to you. I encourage you to consider how you can all be advocates of change and how you can all contribute to a fairer and more equal society. Happy Human Rights Day. Thank you for your attention.
It is indeed a great pleasure to be here this morning and to be part of this gathering. And at the outset, I would like to welcome you all on my behalf as acting dean, but also on behalf of the Faculty of Law, University of the Gambia. As you may be aware, this is actually a project or a program that was conceptualized at the Faculty of Law. Ultimately, we reached out to the National Human Rights Commission as a partner, and together we've been able to develop an international moot court competition, which I am pleased to say has gone from strength to strength over the years, and credit must go to all the partners, including the National Human Rights Commission. The International Moot Court competition has been in existence for a few years now. And as a faculty, we actually find it very fulfilling as an institution, in the sense that it has provided our students with much needed exposure to the legal framework governing the respect, protection, and promotion for human rights, but also provides them with a unique opportunity to familiarize themselves and to expose themselves to key human rights instruments. The value of that to their lives as a student, and the value of that to their anticipated calling as lawyers is quite invaluable. Of course, this also gives greater impetus to all the theoretical framework that they're exposed to at the faculty with respect to subjects like human rights law, international human rights law, international criminal law, etc., etc. So these are subjects that we teach at the faculty, and these are subjects that we expose our students to. But I believe giving them the platform to put to test some of the theoretical knowledge they would have attained at the faculty, but also giving them the opportunity to further expose themselves to other instruments and practices relevant to what they learned at the Faculty of Law is quite priceless. So in that regard, we're very grateful, and we continue to be very committed to participating in this project, which I believe is earmarked to actually take place on a yearly basis. The faculty is committed, is ready, and is willing to continue being part of this great initiative. Of course, looking at it from the broader sense also, since today is Human Rights Day, I think one could also reflect, albeit very shortly, on how far we have actually come also as a country, as far as the promotion and protection of human rights is actually concerned. It is not fortuitous that the most important continental human rights body is actually situated here in the Gambia. It is not fortuitous also that the most important or the frontline legal instruments for the protection and promotion of human rights in Africa is called the Banjul Charter, clearly a tribute to the instrumental role that Gambia played, and particularly our former president, Sadaura Jawara, in its formulation, conceptualization, and eventual adoption. It is also not fortuitous, perhaps of more recent vintage, that we now have a fully fledged National Human Rights Commission, an independent body, tasked with the role to protect and promote human rights in the Gambia. And it is certainly not fortuitous that we anticipate to have a fully fledged anti-corruption commission. We can probably also anticipate to have a new constitution that would ensure greater respect, perhaps, for human rights. We could also perhaps dare to anticipate that there would be a process of accountability for some of the excesses of the past as far as human rights is concerned, which is quite important, one, in providing redress for victims, but also in providing accountability, which ultimately we hope would have a deterrent effect and ensure that some of these excesses do not rear up again in our existence. However, whilst we have achieved a lot, I think we must not rest on our laurels. We must not be complacent, and we must not take things for granted. as unfortunately some of the excesses of the past, albeit isolated perhaps to a certain extent, are rearing up again. And when I say this, I refer to arbitrary arrest. When I say this, I refer to arbitrary detention. And when I say this, I refer to incidents of torture, inhuman, or other degrading treatment. Whilst they are isolated cases or incidents, I believe ultimately it's the isolated cases and incidents that actually build up to something big. So we must ensure that we nip them in the bud and make sure that we provide accountability as and when they happen, and also make appropriate provisions for victims in those instances and where required. Obviously, if you pay tribute to a great man like Sir Dawda for his strong commitment to human rights, I believe, yes, his speeches would be nice, they're okay, but I believe the greatest tribute you can pay to a man like that and to his human rights legacy, and the greatest tribute we can pay to some of our champions also who have made fundamental contributions in the crusade for respect for human rights, is to ensure that we're proactive and to ensure that we're very firm in committing ourselves in practice to the implementation of the lofty ideals that he actually stood for, and that many other Gambians have actually stood for as far as human rights is concerned. With the National Human Rights Commission here, and with a revived civil society, I believe we are well placed to ensure that these things are actually done. On that note, I would just like to say that as an institution, whilst the Faculty of Law is an academic institution, conceptually, that's the bread and butter, but we are also ready and willing to collaborate in any effort, academic or otherwise, that seeks to foster greater respect for the protection and promotion of human rights in the Gambia and indeed beyond. This we could do through research, this we could do through publication, and this we could do through awareness raising. On that note, I wish to congratulate all our students, of course, all of them who participated in this project, but particular congratulations actually go to the ones who have made it this far, to the finals. I'm tempted to say, may the best team win, but in my mind, I say that you're all winners already. Someone has to walk away with the trophy and the accolades, but I believe all participants are winners in this context. And once again, I congratulate you all, and maybe I can say it now, may the best team win. Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Dean of the Faculty of Law, University of the Gambia. Ms. Yvonne Masarakufa, Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, National Human Rights Commissioners, students of the University of the Gambia, Faculty of Law, government officials here present, colleagues from the UN family, and particularly UNDP Res Rep, all partners present, all protocols duly observed. A very good morning to you all. It is a pleasure to join you all for the final round of the second Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Human Rights Moot Court competition. As already mentioned, we're aptly gathered here today for the annual commemoration of Human Rights Day, but also International Migrants Day, which takes place on the 18th of December. Both days are proclaimed by the UN General Assembly, with International Migrants Day actually being the day in 1990 that the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution on the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and their members of their families. I'm sure you all are familiar with this by now. Today, the number of international migrants is estimated to be almost 272 million globally, with nearly 2/3 being labor migrants. This figure remains a very small percentage of the world's population at 3.5%, meaning that the vast majority of people globally, that is 96.5%, are estimated to be residing in the country in which they were born. However, the estimated number and proportion of international migrants already surpasses some projections made for the year 2050, which were in the order of 230 million, or 2.6% of the global population. When we think of the 2 days together, we are reminded of just how inextricably linked human rights and migration are. While migrants are not inherently vulnerable, and in fact, many are very resilient, we must recognize that migrants often find themselves in vulnerable situations where their rights are at risk. We can think of the young Gambians pushed by circumstances to take extremely dangerous journeys across the Sahara or the Atlantic, or those returning home from such journeys, needing to restart their lives, or young girls who have fallen prey to the lure of traffickers, or West African migrants stranded in the Gambia as a result of COVID-19 border closures, or migrant women and children at risk of exploitation along their journeys. The list goes on. Irregular migrants are especially vulnerable as traffickers often take advantage of their status to lock them into cycles of exploitation. Despite the growing awareness and knowledge of trafficking practices, prosecution and conviction rates remain low due to various factors, with the limited capacity of law enforcement actors being among the key factors. Another important issue worth considering is the critical importance of promoting a social justice approach that ensures that counter-trafficking measures are human rights-based, victim-oriented, and gender-sensitive. The primacy of the rule of law is not only central in order to avoid victims becoming collateral damage of anti-trafficking efforts, but also to ensure that criminal justice measures are not counterproductive and detrimental to the fight against human trafficking, and more broadly, the governance of migration. Now, what a fantastic way to commemorate these 2 days through the art of debate. I see this moot court competition as very encouraging for 2 reasons. First, as many of us have seen, the discourse on migration around the world has increasingly become toxic, one based on misinformation, xenophobia, and fear. How refreshing to see some of the Gambia's brightest minds come together to engage in a productive debate on migration issues based on facts, evidence, and logical reasoning. Second, it is incredibly heartwarming to see young people so actively engaged in these discussions. The political, economic, and social challenges that we face in the world today will have a defining impact on the next generation. Therefore, it is essential to ensure that the 1.8 billion young people in the world today, aged between 10 and 24 years old, can be agents of that impact and can determine their own futures. So, your involvement is key to positively shaping the narrative of migration and creating a better future for migrants, their families, and host communities in countries of origin, transit, and destination. The discussions over the hypothetical cases aim at creating awareness on some of the fundamental right protection issues of migrants, as well as emphasize the importance of meaningful implementation of migrants' rights in line with international human rights instruments. This includes domesticating the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of Their Families, ICRMW, as well as other UN human rights instruments, and contributing to the achievement of objectives stipulated in intergovernmental agreements such as the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, GCM. In fact, and I quote from the GCM, migrants are entitled to the same universal human rights and fundamental freedoms, which must be respected, protected, and fulfilled at all times. So, as you embark on your legal careers in the coming years, I encourage you all to reflect on what role the legal profession can play in promoting migrant rights in the Gambia, whether in standing up to protect the rights of vulnerable migrants, strengthening prosecution efforts against smugglers and traffickers, enacting and updating legislation, advocating for alternatives to migrant detention, promoting migrant workers' rights, and many others. At IOM, as the UN Migration Agency mandated to promote safe, humane, and orderly migration for the benefit of all, the law intersects with so much of our work, not only migrant protection, but also in facilitating labor mobility, strengthening border management, promoting the health of migrants, understanding the relationship between migration and the environment, responding to mobility-related crises, exploring the migration development nexus. The list goes on, and so much more. IOM's doors are always open to work hand in hand with young professionals who share the vision of well-managed migration, and I am certain that you, as future lawyers, have a significant role to play in turning this vision into reality. At this stage, I'd like to commend the National Human Rights Commission for taking such an active role in raising awareness and promoting the human rights of migrants. Thank you as well to the University of the Gambia for being such key partners of the UN system in advancing well-managed migration. And of course, well done to IOM sister agencies, OHCHR and UNODC for supporting this entire initiative. To the moot court competition finalists and generally all who participated in the competition, congratulations on your achievement and best wishes from all of us at the UN as well as obviously IOM. I'm certain we will all learn a lot from you this morning. Thank you for your attention.
Good morning, everyone. I am very honored to stand here today to speak of my experience for the past year as the first intern of the NHRC, having emerged as the winner of the Maiden Sadara Karaba Jawara Human Rights Moot Court Competition 2020. The SDK Moot Court Competition gave me a much-needed exposure in advocacy and research skills and equipped me with substantial knowledge of international human rights law, specifically the African human rights system. My participation in the competition solidified my aspiration of becoming a human rights lawyer. Clearing any doubt I had of a different specialization. However, with my role at the NHRC exposing me to different aspects of human rights work, I am yet again at crossroads contemplating which area of human rights law to build my expertise. Human rights work is anything but mundane, and however Herculean the task, it is always worth the toil. Dr. Barry, the former executive secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, did state at last year's moot final that the winners of the moot competition might not want to leave the NHRC at the end of their internship. And I would like to confirm that he is absolutely right. To say I have enjoyed my time at the NHRC would be an understatement. The work environment has been the friendliest I've ever experienced. Every member of staff and the commissioners have been welcoming, accommodating, and understanding. I have been made to feel like an actual staff of the NHRC, being included in all the work activities engaged in by the staff, specifically the Legal and Investigation Department, which is home to the most hardworking individuals I've ever worked with, under the admirable leadership of Mr. Mansour Diop. My work with the NHRC has taken me to the length and breadth of this country, an experience that I will forever be grateful for. Before coming to the NHRC, the farthest I've been in the country has been Sifo, which is in the West Coast region. However, after coming to the NHRC, I've been as far as Koina in the URA. All in the quest to ensure that we live in a Gambia that is not only guided by justice, but where everyone enjoys their human rights and freedoms. It would be remiss of me to not mention my supervisor, Mr. Seiniba, Senior Legal Officer of the NHRC, who believed in my abilities enough to bring the moot competition to my attention and urged me to participate, and has continue to entrust me with key tasks. Thank you for always challenging me and pushing me out of my comfort zone and believing in my abilities even when I doubted myself. I am grateful. I would also like to thank Ms. Fatou Gay, Legal Officer, and Ms. Aminata Cisse, Investigating Officer, who have taken me under their tutelage and made my stay at the Commission worthwhile. I will conclude by thanking the chairperson of the NHRC, Mr. Emmanuel Daniel Juve, who deserves a lot of credit for his visionary leadership, heading a vibrant and inclusive institution, doing so much great work at a very early stage in its existence. To the participants, whoever the winners are today, be rest assured that you will be walking into an experience that will positively impact your studies and career paths. The work is of course challenging, and there will be times that you will doubt your abilities, but you certainly will be in the best hands. Thank you.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Wow. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes you know fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème picture boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii
love like fire bring my yobo guma fanya love like fire
Agada.
Mbijan aganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moy o diat ha.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel ciosano lo.
Abaraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.